What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. So during the develop of various champions and stuff, there's a lot of really hilarious and kind of just insane bugs that get fixed, before the champion or whatever content piece actually gets launched. So we never really get to see the bugs because they don't ever show up on the live servers or even on the PBE. And a lot of these bugs are actually really amazing and kind of just really funny and just so cool to see. And we've got some footage compiled of these bugs from a couple of riders on Twitter, so big thanks to Riot Scarzard, Riot Meme, Riot Kukaroon, and Moobeat in specific for helping to make this video possible. So we're going to take a look at some really hilarious bugs, show them off, and if you guys enjoy the video, definitely hit that like button, and if you don't, hit that dislike, because if you guys, if this video gets a lot of positive feedback, we could definitely make another one in the future. So we're going to start off this video with a pretty crazy bug actually. So Illaoi's Tentacles once caused an interesting issue in one particular situation. So when two Illaois were in the same game, when a normal player is made a vessel by Illaoi's Test of Spirit, they would spawn a tentacle, every few seconds for a while until that player removes the curse by waiting it out or at the time killing 3 tentacles. But the bug was that if two Illaois hit each other with Test of Spirit and they both became vessels though, instead of spawning just one tentacle every few seconds, they would actually spawn infinite tentacles, kind of just lining the terrain with nothing but tentacles as far as the eye could see. And I've definitely seen enough hentai to know where this one's going, so let's move on to the next one. Champions like Zyra that have extra textures than the average champion probably have a way higher chance of being bugged actually based on the way things are coded. So, for example, there was one bug where Zyra would be 30 feet tall in the game and all of her seeds and plant textures were also missing, so they were defaulted to Zyra's base texture. So essentially she would just be a massive Zyra, go around planting smaller Zyras all over the place. It's kind of funny. Next up is one of my favorites on this list today, and it's pretty recent since it involves Kled, which is of course League's latest champion, and it seems like in the time his dash hadn't really been coded all that properly because Kled's E would actually let him dash forever as long as he had enough targets, essentially giving him a new and improved Yasuo dash. For our next bug, a lot of people consider Syndra's ultimate to have a limit of 7 balls, since that's essentially the maximum number that you can generate and throw at once, including the 3 that she always has of course, and well, she does always go on and on about her unlimited power, and this bug gives us an idea of what her infinite power might actually look like, because the ultimate didn't stop until whatever or whoever you were attacking was dead. Moving on, these full roster updates do take a ton of time to develop in the game since they just update so many champions at once at the same time, and the Marksman update is no exception to that, and Quinn had a pretty fun bug during development that would cause every attack to get the bonus damage of Harrier, even when changing between targets, and that is something that would be just insane. Next up, sometimes the thrill of the hunt and ongoing fight against Rengar would get Kha'Zix maybe a little bit too stressed out. He wanted to take a break, and there was a curious map bug that kind of helped him escape the fight in a sense though, because if he used his leap next to the edge of the map, he could actually just jump off the map completely and vanish from the game. For our next bug, we've got a little bit of proof that Vel'Koz never really wanted to study light forms. He actually wanted to be a rocket scientist the whole time, and the proof is right here, where Vel'Koz decides to make Thresh his test subject and launch him into orbit. And it seemed to only really happen when Thresh had something hooked, but Quality Assurance must have been doing some pretty clutch plays to actually discover this bug in development. Next up, we've got a bug from Cassiopeia's rework, and Cassiopeia's rework was reasonably well received, but it definitely wasn't without odd bugs, and for example, her new miasma ability could actually kill Thresh's lantern at one point, and the weird part was that it was worth 22 gold, that's such a random number. Thresh's lantern coded as a minion confirmed, I guess. I wonder how they even stumbled on this kind of bug. It seems like such an odd thing to test for. Maybe it's just a lucky find, or maybe Riot are just seriously thorough with playtesting, and this kind of stuff really gives you an appreciation for how many bugs don't actually make it into the game. And they do so much playtesting and all sorts of stuff, and even though a couple bugs make it into the game here and there, we really don't appreciate the bugs that never really make it. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the video so far. Next up, we've got something from Skarner's update, and apparently he had more than a couple of bugs, because our next two are actually both involving him. You remember those spires they added during Skarner's rework? Well, the thing is that dying while capturing a spire used to cause some pretty odd effects, like it would freeze your corpse into like a T-pose kind of thing that was really funny to look at. As well, another bug with Skarner, towers, they're supposed to be the big threats in League of Legends, but again, we have some pretty godly champions who shouldn't really be so easy to kill, and at the time, Skarner clearly thought it was unacceptable to take damage from a tower because during his update, his E was bugged and could actually just stun towers completely. And suddenly it makes sense why Ohmwrecker, the item that can disable turrets, is kind of a crystal. Ohmwrecker, part of Skarner, confirmed, of course. Next up, we've got a bug from Garen's development, which proved that Garen does have some pretty neat talents. Everything would be fine until you tried to dance, at which point Garen would decide to show off his party trick of just balancing his sword on his head. Wait, that's not balance. That sword is literally inside of him. Okay, that's a little bit interesting, but it does look pretty funny to look at, that's for sure. The recent Mage update also had its own set of bugs, one of which was with Malzahar's Snow Day skin, and when his Voidlings died at the time in this bug, they would leave behind tiny little Black Morgana shields, which was apparently caused by file names not being renamed properly, and it was only the visual effects though, so they weren't actually getting black shields on them, but this kind of thing, these visual bugs are always pretty funny to see, and good luck stopping a bunch of Voidlings, each armed with one of the strongest black shields in the game, that's for sure. During Gangplank's update as well, there were some new particles created to go along with his updated abilities at the time, but there was one little problem. The particles weren't actually disappearing on his ultimate when he used it, so the red outline would stay there forever as a result. And you have to wonder how long it would take to paint the entire map red with thin outlines. Gangplank's ultimate isn't entirely a short cooldown, so it's kind of interesting to see what stuff could have accomplished using this bug. Next up, we have a bug that a couple of you guys might have seen before, and it's when the void gates created by Zyra Portal were first introduced to the PvE. There was actually a pretty crazy bug at the time, The item had no cooldown, so you could place an infinite number of these void gates to just spawn an infinite number of little void monsters. And the only bad part to this bug was just not getting a chance to watch them overrun a base and destroy all the structures in a matter of seconds, and it was patched out quite quickly, but this is something that would have just been crazy. Moving on, every now and again, people install custom skins that haven't been fully updated to use new versions of champion models, and as a result, those custom skins can sometimes end up having some really funky effects, like jelly arms and legs and stuff, and this bug definitely reminded me of that, because rather than being a custom skin problem, it was just Nidalee's human texture being used in her cat form, and this one definitely looks ridiculously funny, that's for sure. And our next bug for today is something that affected the Howling Abyss map, which was an animation bug that caused a pretty flashy weather effect. Yep, that's a pun. It literally just rained flashes. And it does kind of get you thinking though, it would be pretty cool if League got some real weather effects in game. But I guess that kind of thing would be too distracting, but maybe in like an alternate game mode it could be pretty cool. Anyway, that's just about going to wrap it up of our list today of some crazy bugs that didn't make it into League of Legends. This is something we kind of just wanted to try for fun, and if you guys enjoyed it, we can definitely do some more in the future because we know a lot more about a bunch of other stuff that we could show off, and it was really fun, and I think a lot of these bugs are really just kind of hilarious to see, even if they don't actually have that much stuff to them because of course they never made it into the game. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave a dislike too. Subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.